LSRW. The first skill is listening. Listening is the primary learning skill. It is what is known as a responsive ability or a latent skill, as it expects us to utilize our ears and our minds to understand. As it is being told or addressed to us, it is the first of two normal learning skill. The second one is speaking. Okay, I put it in the third place in this presentation, but actually it is the second skill. So listening is the capacity to precisely acquire and translate the significance in the communication process. Listening is critical to very essential and the most useful and powerful skill needed for effectively understanding and correlating the essentials and fundamentals. Without the ability to listen, the understanding is essentially mistaken. Subsequently, correlation separates out and understanding waits out without much of stretch, and the learning gets baffled. The second skill is speaking skill. Speaking is the communication medium of learning orally. To talk, to make sounds utilizing numerous pieces of our body, including the lungs, the vocal tract, vocal lines, tongues, teeth, and lips. Speaking is the second of the four learning skills. Speaking is normally the second expertise that we learn. Speaking or talking means to communicate or expressing one's thought and feeling in a spoken language. So there are various mediums to acquire these skills. For example, in primary schools, elocution and recitations are main sources to master the phonetics, the sounds, the rhythm, and to an extent the intonation, modulation, and variation in the way to be effective in conveying ideas and information. Third is reading skill. One of the primary things we find out about reading is that there are diverse reading strategies, and the students ought to know about which procedure is most fit as required for the reading effort required by the content or by their teacher. Preparing ourselves to know our reading methods and derive when best to apply them in reality, particularly under test conditions when opportunity limitations become possibly the most important factor. There are four fundamental kinds of reading practices as well. We call them skimming, scanning, intensive reading, and extensive reading. Okay, and the last but the important skill, that is writing. Writing is the fourth language expertise we may gain in our learning. Similarly, as with speaking, it is a gainful or a dynamic expertise, as it expects us to utilize our hands and our minds to deliver the composed message or idea or thought or information that we would have spoken otherwise. Writing abilities might be improved by giving activities on piece and exploratory writing. Students ought to be taught and urged to compose, arrange and organize, uh, arrange and organize their thoughts on a given subject or a topic. The significance of sequencing their idea thought process ought to be appeared so as to acquire a cohesiveness, completeness, and accurateness in the writing. Okay, so the third point, which is important as well as far as communication skills is concerned, that is vocabulary. And the first thing which is very important for enriching our vocabulary is acquaintance with the spelling of the words. If you are learning English, you need to learn to spell in English. You might think English writing and spelling are not so important for everyday communication. But if you think you only need to write in school, okay, uh, there are few ways to improve our English spelling. Uh, for example, remembering information can be difficult, and when you give that information more meaning, it becomes easier to memorize. So mnemonic devices turns information into a picture, a sentence, a rhyme, or anything else that is easier to remember. Secondly, you can learn few rules. Sometimes the best way to learn is to know the rules. Start by learning a few. Then, as you learn new words, you can add more and more rules. Before you know it, you will be able to spell most words. Uh, Learn commonly misspelled words. Some words are so tough to spell that even native speakers get them wrong a lot. You can find some commonly misspelled English words and try to mug up them. For example, across, basically, beginning, believe, foreign, friend, 40, interrupt. These are few words which can be commonly misspelled by us. Then make a list of the words you have trouble spelling. Maybe you already know how to spell most commonly misspelled words, or maybe you just don't use the word vacuum too often when you are writing. Instead of studying a list of words made by someone else, why not make your own? Write down words that you have trouble spelling, even if they seem simple. Then learn their spelling rules or memorize them with mnemonics. Then you can check words origin in the dictionary as well to spell them accurately. Many English words have Greek and Roman roots. This means they have Greek or Latin words in them. Knowing common roots can help you spell to understand maximum words. Okay, when you look up words in the dictionary, you might check the meaning and part of speech, but it can also be useful to check the origin. Many dictionaries include the origin of the words. Okay, for example, have you ever wondered why bicycle is spelled the way it is, bicycle? It comes from the Greek word cycle, cycle, which means circle, circle. This is easy to remember because a wheel has the shape of a circle. The bi in the bicycle is from Latin and means two. So a bicycle is something that has two wheels. Now, the next time you see cycle in a word, you can use it to guess the meaning. It will also help you remember how to spell the word. If a unicycle is like a bicycle but with just one wheel, what do you think uni means? You will get the meaning, obviously. Then next thing you can do for enhancing the accuracy in this, as far as spelling is concerned of the words, chunk it. Sometimes words are difficult to spell just because they are long. In these cases, you can use the chunking method. Chunking is when you separate the word into chunks or shorter parts. This was you are not memorizing the spelling for one long word but just a few short ones. For example, the word embarrassed, for example, can be chunked like this: M bar ras said. Just remember the spelling for these four short words and you will spell embarrass, M-E-M, bar, B-A-R, ras, R-A-S, said, S-E-D, embarrassed correctly every time. So you can do this with any word you have trouble spelling. It makes them much easier to remember. Next, what you can do, you just sound it out. This is a spelling trick that is often taught to little kids because it's so simple. If you are not sure how to spell a word, say it out loud very slowly, then write down what you hear. Of course, this won't work with every word. Okay. Next, you can do a thing. You could draw a picture. You can use drawing as another mnemonic device. Have you ever noticed that the word bed actually looks like bed? Using pictures is a great way to remember spellings. And you can play word game as well. Playing word game is a fun way to test your new spelling skills. It also a good way to learn new words. Okay, so then we'll move on the next topic, that is sentences, sorry, pronunciation. uh, what you can do for enhancing your pronunciation of English words: first, get familiar with the phonetic alphabet. It will help you identify new sounds and provide you with some markers to navigate the language you are learning. Familiarity with a language phonemes help you recognize sounds that your ear isn't tuned to natively. Once you can recognize these sounds, you will start noticing them way more often when speaking and listening in your new language. By becoming aware of the range of sounds that exist in the language you are learning, you learn how to differentiate sounds that seem similar to the untrained ear, and it will make spelling easier. Okay. Secondly, you can get familiar with the spoken language. uh, Expose yourself as much as possible to your new language. Of course, it is easier said than done, but try to talk as often as you can with native speakers. If you have trouble pronouncing a particular word, ask people to repeat it, or even record it on your phone. You can then replay it and train your pronunciation as often as you wish. You can also listen to the correct pronunciation via online dictionaries, and then you also get in that habit of learning a new in your new language. Okay. Thirdly, you can do or you can identify what's weird about the pronunciation. You'll quickly notice that your new language has many sounds in common with your native tongue. With the similarities identified, you can focus on the sound that doesn't exist in your native tongue. Raises the temptation to simply compare these unfamiliar sounds with similar ones from your native language. This might seem like useful shortcut, but it's a bad habit that will make your pronunciation even harder to correct in the long run. And the most important method, that is listen, listen, and listen. As I mentioned earlier, the internet gives you access to plenty of audio material that can help you improve your pronunciation. Listen as much and as regular as possible. Instead of always focusing on grammar and vocabulary, dedicate some time to the phonetic aspect of the language. Listen to short audios uh, and focus on rhythm, breaks, and intonation. Try to understand what gives the sentences fluidity and try to imitate it. If you watch movies in your learning language, turn off the subtitles and keep your eyes on the actor's mouth. If you find it too hard, slow down the speed of the video or audio that you are watching or listening. You can even slow down your what you say, the speed of the YouTube videos as well. This can help you identify and separate each syllable. Okay. And lastly, practice makes perfect. Remember it. Training your accent requires some skill and patience. So don't get demotivated if it doesn't come immediately. For a maximum efficiency, your training sessions should be frequent, no longer than 2 days between sessions. Collect newspaper articles, movies, scripts, and lyrics and record yourself while reading them aloud. Then listen and analyze what are your strengths and weaknesses, what native language habits are you carrying over to your new languages, etc. etc. Okay. So, this is the thing which I want to convey. Then Variety of meaning is also important for enriching your vocabulary. You must know the synonyms, the antonyms of the given word, because these synonyms and antonyms give you the complete idea of the meaning of the word. So these are the few techniques and ways to enrich your vocabulary. The next part, which is very important in communications skills in any language, but as we are discussing here communication skills in English, so let's start with the sentences in English language. So basic structure of a sentence should be comprehended by you. uh, Listen, all the parts of speech in English are used to make sentences. All sentences include two parts, the subject and the verb. The subject is the person or thing that does something or that is described in the sentence. The verb is the word a person or thing takes to the description of the person or thing. If a sentence doesn't have a subject and verb, it is not a complete sentence. Okay. You should learn types of sentences. As in English, there are simple, compound, and complex sentences. The type of sentence is determined by how many clauses or a subject verb groups are included in sentences. A simple sentence structure has one independent clause. Okay. Uh, then you must realize the importance of subject verb agreement. Then another structure you can practice, there is subject verb object, subject verb adjective as well. You can form a sentence by using subject verb and adverb, or a subject verb or noun. So these are the some basic types of structures in English language of the sentences. You also give importance to the proper word order. When you are using a noun in a sentence, the adjective attributing that noun every time comes before the noun, and it must be strictly followed while constructing a sentence. So these are the few things which you can uh, practice while understanding the structure of sentences. Grammar grammar, obviously, if you are learning English as a second language, so it becomes very crucial and vital as well to know the grammar of the English language. You must know the part of speech, the phrases, clauses, types of sentences. You must also uh, know how to summarize the content. And there is another method to learn English language with its grammar, that is translation. Try to translate your a passage or a content from your mother tongue into English language. So these are the few techniques and aspects which are very essential in communication skills in English. uh, Thank you.